Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Gita Gauranga Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Godam Ki Puri Ki Jagat Swami Ki Ganga Smile Ki Purnamaya Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Ainam Sankirtan Ki Prihat Madanga Ki Randarat Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Go Prema Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Sri Sri Guru Guru Vishnu Padaya Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, Bhagavad Gita opened on chapter 4, text number 22. So that's where we read from. 4:22. looks like. How many have we? Yadrichya, Labha, Santushta, Manva, Patita, Vimatsara, Asidao, Kritva, Nibadyate, Yadrichya, Labhasantushto, Yadrichya, Labhasantushto, Manvatito, Vimatsaraha, Manvatito, Vimatsaraha, Samasida, Vasidaucha, Samasida, Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina, Nibadyate, Kritva Pina, Nibadyate, Yadrichya, Labhasantushto, Dvandvatito, Vimatsaraha, Samasida, Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina, Nibadyate,
Yadrichya Labhasantushto, Dvandvatito Vimatsaraha, Samasida Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina Nibadyate,
Yadrichya Labhasantushto,
Dvandvatito Vimatsaraha, Samasida Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina Nibadyate.
Yadrichya Labhasantushto,
Dvandvatito Vimatsaraha, Samasida Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina Nibadyate. Yadrichya Labhasantushto, Dvandvatito Vimatsaraha, Samasida Vasidaucha, Kritva Pina Nibadyate.
Yadrichya,
Out
of its own accord,
Labha,
with gain, Santushta, satisfied, Dvandva, duality, Patitaha, surpassed, Vimatsaraha, free from envy, Sama, steady, Sidao, in success, Asidao, failure, Cha, also, Kritva, doing, happy, although, never, Nibadyate, becomes affected. So, he who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as is in his power, and he is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. Duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. HG Lalitanatha Prabhu vimatsaraham samapsida bisat kritva pina nibadyate. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions. Om Magyana Timrandasya Kinandana Salakya Chaksundivitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Hangum Lamgaiti Grim Yat Kripa Tarahang Bande Sri Gurum Taranam Namo Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhujade Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shrunivadi Pashyata Harisatayane Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa
Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Vinibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So, much in Bhagavad Gita, much space is devoted to explaining the qualities of a transcendentalist and a devotee, of course, and also how one comes to the transcendental platform. The transcendental platform is, Krishna, he many verses he talks about how one should be neutral to all the dualities of this material world. This material world, here we have duality, which means that we are thinking in terms of good and bad, happiness and distress, heat and cold, in relation to our own satisfaction. This is what duality means. The opposite of duality here is not oneness, that that everything is just one homogeneous substance or something without any variety. That's not what duality means. But it means here duality is material duality, where one judges a thing or situations and so on the basis of one's sense gratification. So one thinks that this will give me sense gratification, that is harmful to my sense gratification, that person is favorable to my sense gratification, that person is averse or a competitor in my sense gratification, therefore I hate him, I am envious of him. This is the kind of duality we're talking about, Krishna is talking about here. And that's what he means when he says one should be transcendental to all duality, not to all discrimination in terms of variety and what is favorable and unfavorable in terms of Krishna's service, because that's another the symptom of surrender. Is how does it go? Anakulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Is it rakshasi tito visvaso? Or is that something in between?
That's first and then
Huh?
it is
Correct? Guptrite maranam tata. And then but at least there are 6 symptoms of surrender, where the first 2 are that one accepts everything that is favorable for Krishna's devotional service, and one rejects everything that is unfavorable for Krishna's devotional service. So there's duality there. Some things are favorable for Krishna's service, other things are unfavorable for Krishna's service. So one has to discriminate. And so Krishna is not saying one should give up discrimination and between good and bad as such, but it should be in relationship to his service. That is surrender. And the whole process is now that actually again attain, okay, we use the word oneness with Krishna, but the oneness is again is not a homogeneous oneness where there's no difference in personality between us and Krishna. That that is always there. That individual, we are always individuals by nature. But the oneness is that there is oneness in interest. There's oneness in there's no separate vision. The interest Krishna has, that's also the devotee's interest. They have no, this example is simple. There's a family, there's a father, he's the head of the family, and all the sons, they have the same interest. They will repeat, and they will work for the interest of the father. That's a foreign concept to us here in this part of the world, but in the part of the world where some of you are coming from, you still have this, the father. Is that still there? He's the head of the family. Yes. So and also he has some degree, but less. So that's the example that the interest of the head of the family, that's the interest of everyone in the family. So that's there, and also between the soul and Krishna in the pure state. But of course, in a really purified state, we cannot really imagine here, because here everyone is still using their own sense gratification, even in more normal circumstances that we experience here in the West. To come to that position, then one has to transcend material duality. In other words, one actually has to reverse the process that brought one to this material world, because that's also what Krishna, he says a little later on here in the 7th chapter, 7:26, I believe it is. Icha dvesha samutvena dvandva mohina bharata samoham savabhuta nisageyanti parantapa. He says, "O sign of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entities are born into the delusion overcome by the duality of desire and hate, icha dvesha." So that's what happens when one separates from Krishna. Then one is brought into illusion by seeing duality, seeing things in terms of what is good for one's own gratification. And this is a vision that, and this illusion based on the duality, that there are things in the material world which are good and things which are bad. This is what is keeping us here in illusion. Because actually it is an illusion. Materially speaking, there is nothing that is good, nothing is bad, everything is equally bad, basically. That's Lord Chaitanya said that Dvaita Bhadra Bhadra Gyan Sabamanudam E Manda E Brahma. It's a hundreds. That's what Lord Chaitanya says like that. That all these ideas of in material world saying this is good, this is bad. It's just mental concoction. It's all bad. I mean, without seeing things in relationship to Krishna, you cannot talk about good and bad in this world. They will say, it's peace in the world, it's good, or there's war, it is bad. But it has no meaning if it's not connected to understanding Krishna and Krishna consciousness just on its own. It is simply, it's like a dream. It means nothing. material duality, which we are so absorbed in. I think, but you hear, of course, that all the time. In the material world, everyone is talking in terms of that. Oh, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Oh, and what's I got a new job. Oh, that was good. Or I guess you always hear people say, oh, how you're healthy. That's good. Oh, you're sick. Oh, that's bad. And everyone will always distinguish between good and bad, but from absolute position, this kind of discrimination has no value. You cannot say good or bad. It's all equally bad. It's all material. So that's the illusion. One has fallen into the illusion of material duality, and we have to reverse the process and again come out of material duality and be neutral to all the ups and downs in the material world, to the heat and the cold, to the happiness and distress, to the fame and infamy that one is exposed to, and simply be indifferent to all this, completely indifferent, not attached to it, being as indifferent to, like we're indifferent to, of course we're indifferent to many things. We walk on the street, and how many light poles do we pass on the street? We don't even notice it. We have no attraction to them. We're neither averse to them. I mean, we don't even notice them. And if you notice them, it doesn't create any great emotion. Neither do we become jubilant or we become disgusted when we see a light pole. It's just there. It's just one of these. So Krishna is saying that we should become equally indifferent to all the dualities of the material world. That's the first level of being transcendental. Of course, one has to especially transcend the main duality. The main duality is man-woman. It's exemplified in the man-woman relationship, where one again distinguishes on the basis of the body, and one thinks that I'm this body, and there's another one who is in a completely different body, duality, and one discriminates in terms of good bodies, bad bodies. This is a beautiful body, that's a good body. This is not such a beautiful looking body. It's not a good body. So that's actually the main illusion. And one has come to the point where one is simply indifferent to this bodily duality, bodily illusion. And come to the transcendental state, but that's not enough. The Brahma-Bhuta states describe this, we'll describe a little later on. Brahma-Bhuta, Prasanatma Nashotani, Akangsiti, Sama Saveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Napate Param. One will come to, as Krishna says, that one who is thus transcendentally situated. Transcendental situated means that one neither hankers nor laments for anything material, is equally disposed to all living entities, and he's happy. He's basically a happy person, a satisfied person. And then from there on, then one can engage in actual devotional service. It's not really possible to engage properly in devotional service when one is caught up in material duality. Because that means, material duality means that one is putting one's own interest first. One's own satisfaction comes first, and then Krishna after that. But that's not what devotional service means. Krishna is first, and then everything is being discriminated on the basis of that. So Krishna is again and again talking about Gita, how one should come to the transcendental level, and then from there one should come to the actual devotional level, where one is, maybe lots of discrimination, but it's what is in this relationship to Krishna's service. And for Krishna's service, one will tolerate any kind of duality. One will, doesn't matter how unpleasant it is, but if it's favorable for Krishna's service, devotee will accept a very unfavorable situation or circumstance, not considering himself at all, but this is favorable to accept for Krishna's service. This is how, this is actually the real platform that one can come to, and then and that's a real transcendental platform where one actually one comes to there where the material world does not affect one at all. Because the problem with material duality, of course, that then one becomes attached to the material world, material existence, and that means by nature miserable. And because material nature is, as Krishna says, dukhalayam, sasvatam, it's temporary, it's miserable. So as soon as we attach to that, then we are miserable. But if we are unattached to it, then it doesn't matter what happens in this material world. And one will be in a transcendental consciousness, which means, as Krishna he says, one is satisfied, one is naturally satisfied with whatever gain comes on its own accord. Whatever, and that can mean anything. Anything is gain. It can be. One is satisfied with whatever comes. One is honestly trying to serve Krishna according to one's capacity and position, and then whatever the result is, then one is satisfied. One doesn't complain, or lament, or try to make big arrangements to increase one's economic development or anything. One is simply satisfied with what has come, and if it's again whatever good or bad seemingly it is, one is just satisfied with that. And that's of course a great secret of life, to learn the art to be satisfied with whatever gain you are getting in any circumstance. And then you can actually that's the only way to be happy, to learn the art of being satisfied. If one does not learn the art of being satisfied, he can never become happy. One will dream about how one will be happy in the future, but that's not going to happen, because the material world is always up and down, it's always duality. And that ideal utopian situation where one will just be happy will never come. It's not that one hasn't found it. It doesn't exist in the material world. That's the point. Because we think also, I'm just unfortunate. Something's wrong with me. I haven't found it. Others have found it, but I haven't found it yet. But I will, if I just get more money, or a better job, or a better situation, or a better wife, or a better husband, or whatever plan I have. Then I actually will be completely happy. But that doesn't exist. Situations like that doesn't exist at all. The only place where there's happiness is actually in the person who is satisfied with anything. You have to be satisfied in any situation, because if you're not, you will not be satisfied in any situation. No situation will give you satisfaction, because it's an internal thing. And how to do that? Well, Krishna talks about on two levels. There's first a foundation to simply learn how to be satisfied, and then you connect with Krishna in Krishna consciousness, and then you actually experience real happiness and bliss from that, which is, the satisfaction is just a foundation of actual happiness, but it's two things, or one is the foundation for the